Good morning. I am Councilman Robert Stokes Sr., Chairman of Education, Workforce, and Youth Committee. Also in attendance, part of the committee is Councilman Bullock from the 9th District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Sharon Middleton from the 6th District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Z. Cohen from the 1st District.
Mr. Chair.
Also, the sponsor of this bill is Councilwoman Odette Ramos from the 14th District, who's in attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Also have Nina Thimlis from the Mayor's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Staff person for this actual committee is Marguerite Currin. Make sure we have everybody. Okay. Before we start, I'm asking all speakers and panelists to mute yourself when you're not speaking. Identify yourself before you speak. Speak slowly and clearly. And after you finish speaking, please mute yourself again until you are asked to speak again. Today's agenda is Council Bill 21-0028, Landmark List, Clifton School, for the purpose of designating the Clifton School 2670 Kennedy Avenue as a historical landmark exterior at the request of Councilwoman Ramos from the 14th District. As the sponsor of the bill, Councilwoman Ramos, would you like to give open remarks?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone and colleagues for your time today. I would ask your favorable report on this bill. What it does is provide landmark designation for a building in my district on 2670 Kennedy Avenue. It is not on Clifton Park. It is not part of Lake Clifton School because Morgan will be taking that on. This is up the road on Gorsuch Avenue. It is a beautiful old school that's been turned into, there's some housing at the moment, but we want to preserve it so that it becomes part of the long line of buildings on Gorsuch Avenue from the firehouse, from historic Clifton Park, the firehouse on Gorsuch Avenue, and now this beautiful building to make sure that it is preserved. The architecture is beautiful, as you'll see from the next presentation, but also it becomes part of the revitalization of the neighborhood. And so you'll hear from the community today, but also from planning and from CHAP about the history of the building, and I'm just honored to be able to share this history with you. And I hope that we'll be able to, I can count on your support on this. So thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm willing to answer any questions. We have a lot more information coming up.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Also, Nikki Thompson from Council President Mosby's office also is in attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Ramos, I know you had a letter. I don't know if you want to read it into the record.
I submitted it into the,
Okay.
I submitted it with the other testimony. So
Okay.
I think it should be okay. I'm happy to read it, but I basically just said the same thing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome. Now we're gonna go over agency reports. The Law Department submitted a favorable report. Mr. Victor, do you have any additional comments?
No, sir, that we stand by our report.
Oh, okay, Miss. Okay. Board of Municipal and Zoning Appeals. Anyone to discuss the board's position on the bill? Is anybody here from BMZA?
Hi, Mr. Chair. A representative from BMZA was not available for this morning's hearing, but they defer to the Planning Commission's recommendation and report.
Thank you. Also, on this part of the committee is Councilman Torrence from the 7th District also.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Planning Commission submitted a favorable report. Lauren or Eric Tiso, do you have any additional comments?
Hi, Lauren Chiswick from Planning here, and no additional comments. I also am representing CHAP. I don't know if we want to do that separately.
We'll be calling on you again.
Okay, thank you.
Department of Housing and Community Development submitted a favorable report. Stephanie Murdoch, do you have any additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Stephanie Murdoch, Legislative Liaison for DHCD. We stand by our bill report in support of the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chat had a favorable report. Ms. Lauren, do you have any additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Councilman Stokes. Lauren Shizik representing CHAP. CHAP's role is to determine if properties are significant and eligible for this important designation as a Baltimore City landmark. Landmark designation is frankly the strongest protection for any property, stronger than the National Register of Historic Places. This school is the sole surviving building that represents the educational experience of students living in the growing suburbs of Baltimore City in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was originally constructed in 1882 as a school for Baltimore County before it was annexed into the city. And, most of the county schools were not deemed large enough, well built enough to continue serving the city school system, and were demolished. And this one is the rare survivor that has served the Coldstream Homestead Montebello community for over a century. First as a school, and then as offices for the city school system, and currently as housing. So this is a really important site for the neighborhood and community, and CHAP was delighted to dig up this history that confirms the significance and importance in Baltimore's history. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge one of the committee members, Councilman Glover from the 13th District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Also, the Baltimore Development Corporation had a favorable report. Mr. Micah Fetz, do you have any additional comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, Micah Fetz with Baltimore Development Corporation. No, sir, we have no additional comments. We stand by our report.
Thank you. So we're going to start off with the committee members who have any questions or concerns. So we're going to start off with Councilwoman Sharon Middleton from the 6th District.
Just more of a comment. Thank you, Councilwoman Ramos, for making sure that there are certain areas of our city that we need to preserve. And we know that our city, our entire city basically is a hub of great educational institutions. And we're noted for that. We've always been noted for that. It's one good positive of our city, and just to continue to keep this going and making it a landmark as well is just so important as we continue to make changes and put in policies to help the citizens, and just to highlight the wonderful things that we have historically in our city. So thank you again, Councilwoman, for staying on this and making this a part of probably a place to visit. When we have visitors come and tour our city, this could be another institution that they could stop at and just share the history of our city. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome. Council, someone was saying something? Okay. Councilman Glover, do you have any concerns or questions?
No, sir, I have none at this moment. Thanks.
Okay. Councilman James Torrance, any concerns or questions?
None at this time, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Bullock.
Nothing here, sir. Thank you.
Councilman Cohen.
No, all set. Thank you, though.
Thank you. For those who sign using the computer, please use the raise hand function. Sorry, guys, I missed one piece. We're now taking public testimony. For those who sign using computer, please use the raise hand function to indicate you wish to testify. We will start with you. Mrs. Currin, are there any raise hand function?
Okay, is anyone there that wants to testify? Please use the raise hand function. Right now, Mr. Chair, no one's raised their hand.
Next, we'll go through all the users who have called into the hearing. Attendees who called.
No callings, Mr. Chair. Back to you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. John Seacat is on the line to make some comments. I don't know if he was able to find the raise hand function.
Sure, we'll make sure he get a chance to speak.
Okay. He's unmuted.
All right, am I now unmuted?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good,
Yes, sir.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for allowing testimony on this important proposal for landmark status. On the speaker phone that I'm holding in my hand, on a telephone, is also Mark Washington of Coldstream Homestead, Montebello. This is, I think, going to be awkward for him to be heard. However, I will go ahead and make my brief statement in support. There's no question of the historic nature of this old schoolhouse. Simply knowing that kids from this community went to class here while this was part of Baltimore County tells us something. When Baltimore annexed this part of the county's suburbs above North Avenue, the city got this brick schoolhouse in the bargain. Development investment in this area was stimulated in part because this good-looking schoolhouse was a standing asset. Developers built more homes, more residents came, the city's tax base grew, and the city added capacity to the school building with later construction. My belief and hope is that landmark status will help assure that this building's future uses will again be community supportive and not uses that are in any way burdensome to the community's redevelopment. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Seacott said something about Mark Washington. I don't see him. Is he on the call? I don't see his name at all, Councilwoman. He did say Mark Washington wanted to testify.
He's sharing the same phone with Mark. I don't know if Mark's able to come on. Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, John, you can let him know I'm getting ready for the food distribution.
I don't know if you heard that. He's involved in the community food distribution at this moment. Were you able to hear his voice?
Yes,
yeah, we can hear him if he just wants to.
No, it's all right, Councilwoman. If you want to say something, that's fine.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Just
right.
encouraging Mark to go ahead and say something because we could hear him.
But Mark can get out food and talk too. Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilwoman. Very well said. Thanks to the entire committee. I'll be brief. Landmark status for this historic school is very important to us. It's in keeping with the community's development objectives, given the fact that Coldstream Homestead, Montebello has perhaps some of the most historic educational institutions within its boundaries, ranging from City College High School to Addison Elementary to the beautiful work that was done at the Clifton Park campus, which has now reached to the wonderful work that's going on at Montebello right now, transforming that wonderful old historic building into a 21st century school. So this just fits in with what we're doing. I think Councilperson Middleton said it best. This adds to the historic nature of not only the community, but the city, and allows us to showcase this building to visitors who are interested in the history of Baltimore and Baltimore's community. So thank you all for this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. That takes care of our call-ins and our public testimony. So the committee will now take a vote. Is there a motion to vote on Council Bill 21-00228 Landmark List Clifton School?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilwoman Middleton. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by
Torrance.
Glow. Okay, that's fine.
Second by Councilman Torrance. Councilman Stokes is a yes. Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock is yes. Councilman Cohen? Councilman Cohen? Okay, we'll come back to him. Councilman Glover?
Yes.
Councilman Glover is yes. Councilwoman Middleton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Porter, I don't see her on here, so she is absent. And Councilman Torrance?
Apologies, yes.
I'll go back. Councilman Cohen, are you still on the call? Councilman Cohen? We're taking the vote.
Hey, apologies with internet trouble. Yes.
Councilman Cohen is a yes. The motion passed. This bill will be placed on second reader on Monday, March the 17th, 2021. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and have a good evening.